This week's return of President Hugo Chavez to Venezuela has shined a light on the country, especially its relations with the U.S. For more, we're joined now by Eric Farnsworth. He's the Vice President at the Council of the Americas. Eric, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, we've already heard from President Hugo Chavez saying that he wants better relations with the United States, better diplomatic relations. Now we've heard from the Foreign Minister. Let's take a listen to what he said.
We would like good relations with the United States, but we are not desperate. We have learned and demonstrated that it is possible to live with dignity without having a U.S. ambassador.
So that was the Venezuelan Foreign Minister there. Is the hand slowly being extended to northwards, I would say?
Well, you could certainly make that case. It's a really difficult time in Venezuela right now because nobody knows the health of Hugo Chavez. Nobody knows how long he's going to be with us or if he'll fully recover. And so the last thing that the Venezuelan government wants in the current circumstance is a deteriorating situation with the United States for a couple reasons. First, they rely on the economic relationship with the U.S. in terms of petroleum exports and sales of those types of products to the United States. But also, they are looking for perhaps the United States to focus on the positive potential of the relationship rather than on the current circumstances on the ground. It takes a little bit of political heat off of Caracas, and I think they're looking for that as well.
Right, you mentioned that important word there, potential. I mean, we know about the oil relations, but what is the potential for expanded economic relations?
Well, the potential is huge, but not in the current circumstance, and that's determined by politics. And it's really a shame because for a long time, the U.S. and Venezuela really had a very strong economic relationship, but politics has intruded, and it's actually quite a difficult place to do business now. So investment has been scared away, both because of a lack of rule of law, increasing crime rate, some intervention by the government in terms of the private sector and the economy, whether it's through expropriations or currency restrictions or restrictions on things you can import, that sort of thing. So those circumstances would have to change. They can change, but in the current environment, that's probably asking for a lot.
So not investment friendly. But let's look at a couple of other things. Venezuela has a very high inflation rate, which has been made worse by the devaluation of the currency. Right. Staple goods are in short supply. Liquid cash is down in the central bank. So when one looks at what is motivating this change of attitude in Venezuela, they had very little choice, did they?
Well, you can make that case. They're in a tough spot, really. And as they have relied on the petroleum sector, the truth is they've underinvested in that sector, so their production of petroleum even is going down. That's their cash cow. So with the other circumstances of difficulty in the Venezuelan economy, they have to look for new ways to improve the economy. If they don't find that, that's going to have political implications. And if you layer that on top of the already difficult political circumstances, you get a situation where you could say, look, you're right, they don't have much of a choice. They need to improve that relationship with the U.S.
And as part of this, are we going to see perhaps more deregulation of the oil industry, perhaps some of the oil industry going back into private hands, U.S. companies getting back?
Well, again, probably not in the immediate circumstance. That's a highly politicized action, and it wouldn't be taken without the express consent of Hugo Chavez. And again, it's just pure speculation as to what is his condition and if he's able to actually give those types of instructions or not. He may be, but we don't know, and that's part of the problem.
Here's an interesting figure. 94% of Venezuela's foreign earnings come from oil. Have you seen any evidence or something that would suggest that they're planning on diversifying?
Yeah, it's been a real issue with Venezuela for years, and it goes well before Hugo Chavez. I mean, this is Venezuela's main export. It has been since the 1920s. It's what development economists have been saying for years. Venezuela has to diversify. But, you know, it's called the curse of resources. It's really easy to rely on something that all you have to do is pump it out of the ground and ship it overseas and sell it. That's really good business. And so the incentive to diversify maybe doesn't exist in the same way as other countries. But yeah, that's something that they really would need to do over time in order to strengthen their economy, not rely so much on that sales of petroleum.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Eric Farnsworth there talking to us. Thanks for coming in.